Hi, welcome to Caribou Country Lifestyle. My name is Cheryl. Today I'm going to be making beet pickles. These are beets that I have picked out of the garden and I've been keeping them in the fridge until I had some time to be able to make my pickles. So far I have boiled the smaller beets in one pot and then I have my bigger beets on the stove. They are almost to the point where I can take the skins off of them as well. I'm just going to do up my brine for my beets. I have 2 cups of brown sugar in my pot so far, and I'm adding 2 cups of water, and I need 2 cups of vinegar. And I'm just going to put this on medium heat. Give a little stir, mix that stuff in a little bit. I'll kind of stir it as I'm going as well. I need to just heat that up. That'll be my brine to go over my beet pickles. I actually only have, I think, 3 pints of beet pickles left over from last year's pickles that I made. So I'll just let that do its thing, and I will put some cold water over these larger beets also. Okay, so I've got my brine on simmering and I'm just going to take the ends off of my beets. When I boiled my beets, I just left the root and the tops on them, and I'm just cutting the ends off and then just slipping the skins right off of the beets. They come off so easy. And because these beets are quite small, I don't even have to cut them before putting them in the jar. When I get to the bigger ones, then I'll cut them into smaller pieces. So we'll just, I brought up 8 pints, but I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to have that much to be able to fill up. Here's hoping I can. So I'm going to fill up these jars, and by then my brine should be ready. And then I took the bigger beets off the stove and I have them in cold water so that I can handle them easier. They won't be so hot. And also I have put gloves on because I don't like the mess that beets leave. They stain your hands and it lasts for days. So I definitely like to put my gloves on when I'm doing this. So I have my jars filled with the cut up beets. I only ended up getting 4 pints, but that's okay because that'll in total give me 7 pints to have. So I'm just going to pour my brine over my beets. And then you're going to leave about 1 inch of head space at the top. And I just have a little rubber spatula and I go along the sides to get out any air bubbles around the beets. Just don't want to use anything metal because then there's a chance of chipping your jars. That's why I use just a little rubber one. And then I can top up with this little bit of brine that I have left. I can top up the liquid over my beets. Okay. And then I'll just take a hot cloth and wipe the edge to make sure that we don't have anything, any sugars or stickiness on the top before putting our lids on. And then we'll put our lids on, just finger tight. And then we're just I'm gonna add them, put them on my steam counter. Once my steam builds up on here, I'm going to have them in the steam canner for 25 minutes, and that's how long that these will need to can for. And then we'll come back when these are canned. So I finished my beet pickles. They have been in the steam canner for 25 minutes, and then I took the lid off and I let them rest for about 5 minutes before I removed them from the steam canner. I really like having the steam canner. It is way easier than using a water bath canner as far as you don't need to use as much water for the steam canner. And that's probably what I like the most about it. And there, I just heard one of the lids snap down. I always like to hear that sound, and you know it's sealed. And there you have it. I have 4 jars of beet pickles. Didn't really take a lot to do other than peeling them and cutting them into pieces. Other than that, it was pretty straightforward. So thanks for joining me, and we'll see you again the next time. Bye for now.